Hello everyone and welcome to another episode in the series of things you may have missed in The Witcher 3. I know I already made my 7th anniversary video, but I couldn't come up with 7 details there, so I will try to make up for it here. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that I've got a rather massive playlist with a bunch of interesting videos you may wish to look at if you haven't yet done so, and also, if I sound a little off, or perhaps very much off, that's because I've been struggling with a nasty illness over the past several days, and yeah, it's been quite unpleasant, but I feel a little better now, and I'm kind of bored from staying in bed most of the day, so let's do this. At number 1, I've got something which I've been suspicious about literally since the game came out. Back in 2015, I posted a walkthrough of the Fool's Gold DLC, which is now part of the base game, and I commented below my own video that I feel like there's something more to it than meets the eye. Since then, I have stumbled upon a few interesting details, so let me share them with you. First off, Yontek is a mage, or something along those lines.
I'm Yontek of these parts.
If we wait long enough next to him, he will start going around the village, mostly scrubbing and cleaning, and mourning his roasted friend.
Never you mind. You golder you was good, you'll go to heaven.
But he will also attempt to lift the curse by using some type of magic.
Hocus pocus aladocus. Still piggies, didn't help.
Now, the fact that he can do magic, plus his adult state of mind, instantly reminds me of The Poisoned Source by Tessaya de Vries. It is originally from the books, but we can see it in Yennefer's room too.
Tessaya de Vries, The Poisoned Source. Still turns to it for inspiration.
It's basically Tessaya's philosophy behind the mandatory sterilization of all sorceresses in Aretuza. Now, in case you don't know, sometimes sorcerers and sorceresses can indeed have children. It's not that they're sterile every single time. Now, technically, the Poisoned Source speaks of female children, but I don't see why Yontek here can't also be one of the examples which support Tessaya's case. Sadly, even if we witness him doing the magic, we cannot talk to him about it, which is a shame.
Yontek?
Aye?
I suspect that his magical attunement may be the reason why he was able to acquire the key to that temple in the first place.
Where'd you get the key?
I found it. Showed it to Igor, right? And he told all the folks to go. Then they was changed.
And now that I mentioned Yennefer and magic, this is not the only reference to the books. The part where Geralt talks about casting a spell with one's feet is also a straight reference to Yennefer doing the same thing in the Golden Dragon story.
Whole transformation seems like a mean joke, or else badly cast by someone who tried to do it with her feet.
Sadly, they didn't show that on Netflix, but then again there's a lot they didn't show there. And there's one more thing to mention here. There are 3 variations of the ending, and 2 of them are basically impossible to get. So during the part where you escort the pigs to the temple, the only enemies you have to fight are a bunch of neckers. And they can't actually hurt the pigs. I tried running back to the point where they stop attacking me, but I'm still close enough to where the quest doesn't fail, and the neckers just stand beside the pigs doing nothing. So, as far as I can tell, there's literally no way to lose a pig, and ultimately you will get this scene where everyone survived.
I'm myself again, thank ye.
It's too early for joy, we need a head count of human heads.
We're almost all of us. Thank ye, White One.
Thank Yontek. He helped me a lot.
But it were Yontek brought us the key.
Must have known the goat was cursed. He didn't want to go with us.
But I didn't. 'Twas Igor. Igor wanted.
Won't get out of this dung breath. Get him!
Help me!
However, as I said, there are 2 more variations. The first is if you have 2 or more pigs left.
It's too early for joy. We need a head count of human heads.
Not many of us left.
It's his fault.
Saved as many of you as I could.
But it were Yontek brought us the key.
And the second if you only have 1.
It's too early for joy. We need a head count of human heads.
Just 3 of us? Our whole village murdered because of him.
If not for me, you'd still be a pig. On a spit by now, most likely.
But it were Yontek brought us the key.
Now the way to kill the pigs is by igniting your dragon's dream, either with Igni or with the 1-2 punch of Dragon's Dream plus Dancing Star. And by the way, if you decide to kill all the pigs, the quest bugs out. Yontek keeps walking as though everything's fine, but when he reaches the point where the cutscene begins, nothing happens. He just stands there forever. And if you move away, the quest simply fails. So that's all I had for number 1. Quite interesting in my opinion, and if you know anything else about it, please don't hesitate to share it in the comments. Alright, at number 2, we go all the way to Skellige and the Iron Maiden quest, who also shares the same voice actress with Yennefer.
Gladly fight you, but some other time.
Out of my sight.
Now, a common misconception I've seen in comments or messages is that the task she gives you depends on things you've done before. People usually claim that the task to retrieve the sword is only given under specific circumstances. However, in my experience, that's not the case. She simply gives you one of the 2 tasks at random. I will show you the exact same save, reloaded twice, where she gives me different tasks.
I'll fight you. If you defeat Gundar. Couldn't best me, but he's a brave man and a worthy opponent. If I'm to fight a witcher, I could use a fitting sword. At the sea's bottom, not far from the shore, lies the wreck of Horned Hoskull's longship. And amidst the wreck lies Hoskull's sword, which legend claims cannot be chipped. Bring it to me, and I'll fight you.
Good, I'll give it a shot. See you soon.
I truly wonder if you will.
And here's another fun fact. After she gives you one task, you can talk to her again, and if you choose the same dialogue, she may actually give you the other task.
If I'm to fight a witcher, I could use a fitting sword.
Although that's probably a bug, since your quest does not change, and it always stays at what she told you to do first. Now, with all that said, there is actually a way to circumvent any of the tasks she gives you, and that is by first becoming the fist-fighting champion of Skellige, by defeating the bear.
Shit. Will you fight me?
I've heard of you. 'Twas you defeated Olaf the bear, right?
That's me.
If that's so, you'll make a worthy opponent.
Note that being the champion of champions is not required, just champion of Skellige. And make sure to fight fair, or else you won't get the quest reward in the end.
We don't have to talk.
Well, well. Foul. Fraud. Magic and potions to defeat one woman.
But
For shame. So what is she to you? The sorceress, Yennefer, right?
Alright, moving on to number 3. Here I have a few things to say about Dandelion. First, and this has been mentioned by several people in my comments, is that there is a somewhat rare exchange with him if you visit him after recruiting Polly and before finishing the quest with the placards. If you talk to him at that point, you will get the chance to critique his artistic work.
Dandelion.
Around me thundered the noise of the street. In mourning, an image of majestic distress, with dainty fingers lifting the hem of her dress, a stately woman strode by with hurrying feet.
Dandelion. Hey, hear me?
Geralt, I'm writing, creating... Incidentally, what do you think of that bit?
Could almost swear I've heard it before.
Really? Doesn't seem familiar to me, but it's only a first draft. Needs a lot of revision, let me tell you. Now, what's eating you?
Verbose drivel. Simple as that. Need to talk to you, Dandelion. In prose.
Witchers. Not an ounce of sensitivity. Now, what's eating you?
Wonderful. Best you've ever written. Now can we talk?
Well, honestly never expected my art could move the hardened heart of a witcher. Now, what's eating you?
Also, speaking of the placards and the halfling painter, he is in fact a reference to a French painter with the same name who was also famous for drawing posters, and was unnaturally short too. For this detail, I have to thank a viewer of mine by the name of Samuel Hudek. And speaking of paintings and short people, did you know that you can give the portrait of the hierarch from the dwarves to Dandelion, and he even hangs it on the wall eventually?
Got a portrait of Hierarch Hemmelfart I'm willing to part with. Want it?
Yes, those halfling painters. This one of theirs? Wonderful. I put this up at the Rosemary and Thyme. It'll make those temple guard inspections so much easier.
Oh, and one more thing before we move on, about Polly, the choreographer. Not only can you see her teaching the girls to dance...
All right, ladies, dig deep, because nose-picking time's about to end. All of you on stage now? High time to rehearse.
Vulgar one.
But it also seems that they will carry on dancing throughout the rest of the game whenever you visit the establishment. Meanwhile, if you never hired her, they will just stand around. Okay, time for number 4. This one is about the guy who calls you a Rivian tramp.
Back again, Rivian tramp. Help! Guards!
Did you know you can actually save him? So you know how during his quest you go down to the basement and fight the golem. By the way, I've heard people say that his name is a reference to World of Warcraft, and while there is an NPC there called Therazane, I think the word generally suits an earth elemental monster thing, so it might not necessarily be a reference. But anyway, in the room where you fight, there are 2 supports, and based on my experience, 9 times out of 10, they both break during the fight.
Ceiling would have caved in if not for this support.
You can actually break them yourself.
I was sure that would collapse on my head.
But if not, the golem has plenty of AoE abilities that easily break them during the fight. In fact, he can break both with a single ability. And if the supports break, and you finish the quest that way, upon returning to the place, you'll see that the entire underground section has collapsed. And what's worse, it collapsed on top of the quest giver.
What happened here?
My lord wanted to see to everything, inspect the property personally. So he went down, all the way down, to the cellars. And crash! The ceiling collapsed on him. End of story.
Unfortunate. Very.
He also disappears from Novigrad. Now, the best way to prevent this from happening is to try and fight the golem in the corner of the room. I actually tried fighting him outside the room, but he doesn't want to exit. Even here, he can sometimes still break the distant support, but if you're fast enough, you can actually manage to lose only one of the supports, which is apparently enough. The underground section remains intact, and the quest giver remains in his place in Novigrad.
Back again, Rivian tramp.
Oh, and I actually tried breaking the final support after finishing the quest, but that doesn't seem to change anything. Okay, time for number 5. For this one, I have a couple of exchanges which I noticed only recently. The first one is after you meet the crones and go back to Downwarren. This is assuming that you didn't release the spirit, since if you did, it kills everyone. But if you didn't, you can talk to the guy again and get some extra dialogue about the crones.
Met your ladies, and I think crones is more fitting as a name for those monstrosities.
Why'd you say that?
Just the look of them. Hideous monsters clad in human robes and skin.
Festac must addle your city folks' brains. I ain't seen all the ladies, true, but the Whispess, she's shown herself a true beauty, that.
And I must say I agree with his assessment about Whispess being the prettiest. Also, unfortunately, there isn't any more dialogue after the worst ending or after Ciri kills 2 of them. And the second line is with my dear darling Philippa Eilhart, in case you imported a save where Saskia survived.
Where's Saskia now? She managed to free herself of your spell?
I lost control of her when the war broke out. I've no notion where she is.
I know you used her, but couldn't escape the impression that you actually cared for her in some way.
Really?
My favourite type of magic. Lesbomancy.
It is a little underwhelming that we don't get anything more about her. I think she, alongside Yorveth, was part of the cut content. And speaking of importing saves, I should probably make a video about the most notable changes based on that. I gotta tell you, there aren't any too significant ones. Perhaps the different fate of Molly, one of Dandelion's girls, is the most notable, but still. At number 6, I've got a little something about the botchling quest. Right before starting it, Geralt advises the Bloody Baron to tell everyone to draw a line of salt in front of their doors.
Get word to the common folk. Ought to stay in their homes tonight and draw a line of salt outside their doors. And try to sober up.
And what do you know? If you look close enough during the quest, you will see lines of salt in front most of the houses. Now, this is pretty cool, but I can't help but wonder, and I'll need your help here because I can't quite remember, I may be wrong, but wasn't there a line somewhere in another quest where Geralt dismisses this line of salt thing and says it basically doesn't work? If that's true, then we have a bit of a contradiction. I suppose you could say that he simply told the Baron so in order to keep the people in their houses. And one more small detail before we get to number 7. This one is brought to you by one of my veteran viewers, Gaming Solves My Issues, and it's that during the escort, if at any point you delay and do not soothe the botchling with Axie, it will turn aggressive and you will have to fight it wherever you are. Initially I was under the impression that the fight can only be at the very beginning, but apparently that's not the case.
That is not my child. Can't be.
Okay, and finally at number 7, I want to go back to a video which I made recently about the unique sword. So, if you remember, these looters were not there on most of my saves for some reason. And even though a good number of people commented that they have seen them in their playthroughs, the vast majority of them either didn't know how to trigger it or had the wrong idea. And I will have to thank some of my Polish viewers who actually told me what the trigger is. It appears that you need to cross the bridge and then return to it after some time. Apparently this is what it takes to activate this encounter, which is another thing that makes it unique, because I am aware of at least 2 such bridge encounters, here and here, and those are always available, even if you go there as soon as you enter Velen. But apparently this one is special.
See this medallion?
Gaffer! Gaffer! Shut it, Solbeck. Aye. Now I see it. We didn't mean no...
Recognize the guild?
Aye, Master. Forgive us for not remarking on it earlier. Please. Gaffer! Gaffer!
Now listen. Might pass through again someday. Don't know when. But when I do, I don't want to run into you. That clear?
As a summer's day, my lord. Godspeed you on your path.
Gaffer! Gaffer!
Was it now, Solbeck?
Gaffer, he's a witcher.
Solbeck.
What?
Shut it.
Oh wait, I forgot to mention something in number whatever it was about the golem and the supports. Based on my testing, when you speak to the quest giver, you always have the opportunity to say that you're either from the school of the wolf or the school of the griffin, in which case he wonders why you carry a wolf medallion.
School of the Griffin.
Then why does a wolf hang from your neck?
Hard times. Took whatever was available. Mind if we get down to business?
Now, some people who apparently did this quest wearing Griffin school armor thought that it was that which triggers the extra dialogue about the school of the Griffin, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It is available even if you don't have a single Griffin piece, and I also tested it with full cat and full bear school gear, which did not give me any extra dialogue. What is interesting though, and I'm not sure why, perhaps he feels sorry for you, is that if you say that you are from the school of the Griffin, you can haggle for more money than the other dialogue choices.
Very well. How much do you believe this ship cost me? Yes, agreed.
School of the Wolf.
Ah, yes, a good one. I knew a witcher of this school. Barnabas? No, though his name did begin with a B. Never mind. To the matter at hand.
Let's talk about my reward first.
How much do you believe this ship cost me? No, I'm afraid that's too much. But we're near a price I would consider reasonable.
Alright, and with that, I believe we're done. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like, and also let me know what you thought of everything I talked about. I would like to thank you very much for watching, special thanks to my supporters and YouTube members, and again, apologies for the sound of my voice. Okay, until the next video, stay tuned and be good.
Had to wait till now to remind me? You've put on some weight since Kaer Morhen.